and we'll fill for a minute. That also unlocks Mercenaries mode in Resident Evil 4, and
Mm-hmm.
I forgot how much fun Mercenaries mode is,
Can be.
can be, does be. It's like a score and time attack, like fast paced, run around and kill zombies as fast as possible without dying mode. And I have to stop streaming, playing it at the end of my streams because it makes me like yell and curse loudly. And I have neighbors, and usually by then it's like 11:30, and I'm like, okay, guys, I gotta stop. I gotta stop playing Mercenaries mode now because there's nothing like scurrying around the map, picking up all of the time extensions, and finding a bunch of ammo and healing items and grenades, and then going, okay, starting to murder all of the things, and then going through a door, and there's a chainsaw ganado who cuts your head off without warning. I'm like, I had 4.5 minutes left on the clock. Like,
Yep, that sounds about right.
and then I say bad words again loudly. But anyway, that's a minute and a half of recording, so that should be good. So here we go. You guys ready to do the Lord of the Rings thing?
Yep.
Yes.
I forget. You know what? We'll do that on the show. Okay, here we go. Oh, jam. I probably shouldn't start this episode with an oh jam. I should start it with something Tolkien-y, but nothing comes to mind off the top of my head.
All
Like-
that are lost. Not all that are wanderers are lost. Is that what it was?
Not all those
No,
who
all
wander
that-
are lost.
There you go.
All that is glitter is not golden. All those who wander are not lost, I think is how it actually is in the book or something like that. I could start with the
Things.
black speech, but then I shouldn't utter that language here. Anyway, hello. This is episode. Oh, I didn't check. Is this the right episode number? 672. It is, because I changed the number last week, but then we didn't do a numbered episode last week because Mike didn't bother to show up again.
Somebody fire Mike.
Last week he had a real excuse. This week he's an idiot. So... Did you know that to cook a dinner you have to turn on you have to turn on the oven or the stove or whatever he was using? I don't know the difference. Anyway,
Should we? Wow.
it's very slapdash this week, as it is every week. So this is episode 672 of the Mana Pool. We're talking about the Lord of the Rings. What's it called? I don't remember the official name.
Universes Beyond.
No, okay, it's Magic the Gathering, Universes Beyond, The Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle Earth.
How many colons can we have?
I mean,
Insert colonoscopy joke here.
I was gonna say I've got a large intestine and a small intestine.
Consult your doctor. But yeah.
Because there's a lot to do here and we're starting a bit late. I'm Chewy. That's Brian over there.
Yo.
Brian, Lord of the Rings person?
Yeah. And I used to play the card game by Decipher when that was a thing before I ever even touched a Magic card. So yes.
Nice. And I know Brian has done movies and books because he was reading the books to Sam at some point in the not super distant past. I can't remember when those odds and ends were. Think they were 2021?
Sounds about right, yeah. 2021 into 2022, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so
Lord of
that's
the Rings
Brian.
is a long book. Yeah.
That one over there is Mike.
Yes, that's me.
Mike, Lord of the Rings person?
Uh, yeah, I suppose. I don't know all the stuff, but I'm familiar with it.
Seen the movies?
Yeah, even the Ralph Bakshi one.
Nice. Read the books?
Yes.
Oh,
Not the Silmarillion, but the
I
main
mean,
sequence books in The
no one's
Hobbit.
read the Silmarillion. They attempt the Silmarillion.
Somebody out there
Well, yeah.
has read the Silmarillion is where I was going with that. No one said anything. So
So that was Brian, and then Mike, and then Brian some more, and then that guy over there in the back. Put the cheese nips down. That's Dirk.
That's me.
Dirk, Lord of the Rings guy.
Absolutely.
Books too.
Read the books and the Silmarillion,
Ha!
and seen the movies, and the Rings of Power and all that good stuff.
Oh man, I never did get around to watching the Rings of Power. I should do that.
it's been on my to-do list for a while too.
Yeah, there's too many things. So,
Which service is that on again?
Amazon Prime.
Okay.
So, and I am Chewy, and yes, Lord of the Rings person. I read the books a long time ago, and I've read them several times since then. I've seen the movies way too many times, and the extended editions way too many times. Real quick, if you're trying to get someone into the Lord of the Rings, do not watch the extended edition. Get them to watch the regular ones.
Hmm.
Because you want to make them fans of the movies and then hit them with the extended editions later. You don't want to bore them or drive them away with 4.5 hour movies to start with if they're not fans already. Okay, there you go. I had to explain this to my mother because she's trying to get the old man to watch them. And I'm like, just watch the short version. She's like, but the extended ones are better. I'm like, for us, yeah. Do you want him to watch all three? Because he won't. Anyway. So yes, just a couple days ago, literally a couple days ago as of right now, Wizards of the Coast did their first look reveal thing because Neverending Preview Season never ends. I don't even know when the set comes out, but it's not for a long time.
It's a ways away.
June. Yeah.
Hmm.
But, they've gone 20 minutes without showing something new, so quick, release some stuff. So let's get into... also, I'm a huge, Tolkien, lore junkie.
Mm-hmm.
I never could get through the Silmarillion because it's not good as, an entertainment source. Because if you like the movies, you might not like the books, is what I'm going to try to tell you here. Because
The books are. Tolkien spends a lot of time describing things.
well, also
And he uses a lot of British alliteration in describing things.
I mean, not only that, but he wrote these not for entertainment. He wrote these as a mythology. Like England's lost mythology is what he was envisioning. Like he was a linguist and a historian first. So he came up with the languages and then built the culture around them.
Right.
So yeah. If you're that's the reason. So we saw the Lord of the Rings movies, just a quick tangent, and Mom was like, I want to read the books. And I was like, no. And she goes, what? I'm like, what's the last thing you read? She's like, oh God, I don't know. I don't really read. I'm like, I'm not going to give you the Lord of the Rings to read right off the bat because you'll get frustrated and you won't read. She's like, oh, so what should I read? So I got her started on other stuff, because we didn't know any better at the time, Harry Potter and The Hobbit. And I think she read the Chronicles of Narnia, maybe, because those are kids' books.
Yeah.
To
easy reading.
Yeah, to get her used to reading things, and she tore through once she got into reading, she tore through all of my Michael Crichton books and stuff. And for Christmas one year, I got her very own copies of the Lord of the Rings, and she was very excited. but yeah, they're not easy reading, and they're not as entertaining as the movies. Like the movies were made to entertain people, the books were not. Is my whole point here.
Right.
I don't know why I got into that, but anyway.
Well, we're just
So,
giving a little bit of background with our, you know, experiences.
yeah. Now, uh as you might have been able to tell from the name, Lord of the Rings: Tales of Middle Earth, they're actually this set is focused on the events from the Lord of the Rings story.
Hmm.
So no Silmarillion, no Farmer Giles of Ham and Smith of Wotan Major, no The Hobbit. None of that. It's just Lord of the Rings. And I'm gonna guess that part of that is because the rights for stuff for Tolkien stuff are just scattered to the four winds.
Yeah, I get the impression they're kind of complicated.
Yeah. So yeah. So that this is if you like the movies, then this will all be familiar to you for the most part. So I guess we'll just get to it with the first card here, which is the One Ring. Ah. So the One Ring. The One Ring is a 4-cost legendary artifact. Imagine that. It's indestructible, which is such a nice touch.
It is.
It's mythic, of course. When the One Ring enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until your next turn, which is pretty huge. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life for each burden counter on the One Ring. And you might go, what's a burden counter? Well, why don't you calm down and let me finish reading the freaking card? So you can tap. Yeah, you can tap to put a burden counter on the One Ring, then draw a card for each burden counter on the One Ring. So it's like a slow and painful Phyrexian Arena, except it doesn't happen every turn.
Well,
Well, the life
sort
loss
of.
does.
It. I mean, you can just keep tapping it and just accelerate everything.
That's true.
Hmm.
But yeah, I love the flavor of this. So it's indestructible. That makes sense. It gives you protection from everything, which I guess is supposed to represent you putting it on and vanishing. I guess I can't think of anything else.
I think that's it. Yeah.
And then the way that the ring is an inevitable burden that will eventually kill you, but uh, will having the ring doesn't really give you knowledge, but the ring will whisper to you and make you feel like you have to have it. This is why Gollum called it his precious.
Yeah.
And I guess that's represented by using it to draw cards. But every time you use it to draw cards, it accelerates how fast it's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Because the ring is evil and is inevitable and does not care about you at all.
It's got a piece of a very bad person in it that, you know, the devil made me do it. Well, actually, like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anybody familiar with Faust?
Yes.
Yeah. And there's a couple different versions of the story. And some of them actually tried to make Faust out to be, you know, in the end he like overcomes his temptations and he's redeemed. And I've always felt like that was kind of a cop out. There's another version where he actually is, you know, suffers from his hubris. But Mephistopheles in that, the guy with the chains, um, tempts him, and basically he's like, Faust is like, I'll give you my soul for knowledge, and Mephistopheles is like, sure, let's do it. But the knowledge that he gets is there's always a catch to it. Say you want to learn about the constellations, and then they're like, all right, teach you about constellations, but it doesn't teach you about what the stars are or where they are or anything like that. They kind of just give you a little bit of what you want, but not totally. So he's not even getting the best parts of the deal. So here it's this is very much the promise of power for just a little bit of hurt, but then over time it certainly builds up. And notice that this is loss of life. This is not damage. So if we were in like old school Magic Land, there would be a little like, reminder text, loss of life,
Yes.
cannot be
If
prevented.
effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life.
That's it. That's it. So, but this is a very, very well designed card from both a playing standpoint and a flavor standpoint.
Yeah,
Something about. Sorry, go ahead.
I did
Go
see
ahead.
people complaining on Twitter that it's not an equipment, and no, it's not, because
No.
you don't want people putting on the ring.
Yeah. If it was when this is equipped, you lose the game, that might work. But
Yeah, it's more like the um, the weapons of the gods from original Theros, which is basically equipment for you. That's what it is.
yeah, I think that's a good analogy.
One thing we don't know what a burden is. I, I what I
Probably we'll keep
go
going.
ahead. Well,
Well, I
my
was going to
thought.
say,
Go ahead, Mike.
okay.
I'll never be your
Since,
beast of burden.
since it's used for one of the card's effects, it might just be limited to this card, but who knows? It might show up elsewhere too.
I mean, yeah, it's just a type of counter. It's not going to be. I don't think that's anything else.
Well, one of the things I think would be interesting is if what a burden was is when you tap something, however many burdens you have, that many things don't untap.
Like
Because then
stasis.
you are forced to tap this card to help you draw cards to help try and get stuff. But if you don't get what you want, then more burdens continues to put you further behind, which means you have to keep tapping this to try and find things to catch up.
Did the burdens in the Decipher game have any special meaning, or were they just counting down to something?
When
It
you
was
got
counting
10,
down.
you lost.
Well,
Hmm.
different. So Frodo in the first set, in the first because there were sets based off of the different movies, and because it was Decipher, so they were focused on the movies, but as well as the source material. Frodo was the only ring bearer at first. Later, I think they at least added a Sam, and I heard that later on, you could actually even like choose someone else to be a ring bearer if you wanted. But Frodo had by far the highest resistance. So whoever the ring bearer is has a certain resistance, and when you get that many bird encounters, you lose. Um, and you had to have a copy of the One Ring, and of course there were different versions. Some were rare, etc. Um, but there were cards that cared about how many burdens you had. So
Okay.
on the one hand, yes, it could just be a countdown, but it also was used mechanically. You might have Nazgul that are like, hey, if the ring bearer has at least 5 burdens on him, this Nazgul, gets double strike and does all sorts of wacky stuff, things like that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's more to talk about with the One Ring in the set, but we'll get to that later.
I mean, it is kind of the impetus for the whole story. So
Oh, I meant in the set, the Magic set,
yes,
that has nothing to do with the story.
yeah,
The
I'm with you.
marketing.
The marketing, the all powerful marketing.
Yeah. Let's see. I guess that's probably good for the One Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Has the magic words on it. Draw a card.
It's true. So then we have our two heroes here. Frodo, Sauron's Bane, and it's pronounced Sauron. Tolkien was very clear about how things are pronounced. The dragon's name is not Smaug, it's Smaug. Because the AU sound in the Tolkien's, what's it called, Imaginarium, I think, is pronounced ow. So Sauron. Okay. So Frodo, Sauron's Bane, for a single white, is a one... Oh, wait, I already read a card. Somebody else read a card. Sorry, I got all caught up.
All right. I'll do this one because I just love Figure of Destiny type cards in general.
Yep,
And this,
spoilers.
spoiler alert, is a Figure of Destiny type card. So Frodo, Sauron's Bane, is for a single white, it's a 1/2. It's a legendary halfling citizen at rare. So it has 2 activated abilities. The first one, for 2 hybrid white-black mana, if Frodo is a citizen, it becomes a halfling scout with base power and toughness 2/3 and lifelink.
So that's him going from a happy, innocent hobbit of the Shire to, I guess, the first half of the story.
Yes.
Right, so a scout with 2/3 and lifelink. Now the second activated ability for 3 black mana, black. If Frodo is a scout, it becomes a halfling rogue with, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game if the ring has tempted you 4 or more times this game. Otherwise, the ring tempts you.
Yeah. Now, we don't know what that means just yet. They
No.
have not revealed it.
Right.
But it's going to be a set mechanic like entering the dungeon or like being the monarch or whatever. It's a thing that's only going to be relevant here. And I'm also going to guess you don't need a copy of the ring at all for this to be a thing. It's not the card, the One Ring tempts you. It's going to be, like I said, a game mechanic because you're in Lord of the Rings. So the ring is always there, whether you can see it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if Boromir is going to have some sort of the ring tempts you, and if it succeeds, then he dies.
Well, maybe.
Poor Boromir.
Yeah, poor Boromir.
He was a
I mean,
good dude.
He was. And that'd probably be a fair, balancing mechanic for Boromir because he's going to be pretty awesome as the mightiest human warrior who ever lived.
Right? So yeah, I love that this progresses Frodo from, like I said, innocent hobbit of the Shire to rugged adventurer to evil tempted thing.
Yeah.
Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game if the ring has tempted you 4 or more times. Oh. Not them.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So I guess the more the ring tempts you, the more likely you are to fall to it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, hey Al, thank you for that resub for 66 months. And then he said 6. I see what you did there. Hail Satan. Sauron. Hey, and then Mike resubbed for 36 months. Look at that. Dementor said it turns the opponent into Gollum. I see what you did there. All right. That's a really cool and flavorful Frodo. What about our boy Sam?
Ryan has a Sam.
I do have a Sam. So this is Samwise the Stout-Hearted. He has for one and a white. He's a 2/1 legendary creature halfling peasant. He's a peasant. Because he's always calling Frodo Master Frodo. Uh, and he has flash. So 2 mana for a 2/1 with flash.
That's pretty good. Full stop right
This
there. So
Yeah,
and
pretty
this
good.
is an uncommon. And on the stream, they mentioned that there will be multiple versions of all of the main characters.
yeah,
So there'll be a rare Sam, uncommon Sam. I want to come back to that point later, but I'm going to keep going with this card. When he enters the battlefield, choose up to one target permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn, return to your hand, then the ring tempts you. Obviously, the ring tempting you, that's feeding into the mechanic, but the story here is perfect because this moment that's encapsulated on the card is right when spoilers for a what 70-year-old book. Yeah.
and like a
Sam.
20-year-old movie almost.
Yeah. Sam comes back, finds that Frodo has been, he thinks, killed by Shieldred. He hears the orcs
Shelob.
saying,
Shelob.
"What I say?
You said Shieldred.
Dang
Children.
it, magic creep in it." Well, she looks kind of like a spider, but
Yeah.
Shelob. And then he hears the orcs talking, and they're like, "Nah, she likes to, eat her prey alive." So he's like, "Oh wait!" So he goes back and like frees Frodo from Shelob, and he's holding the gift from the elf lady. Yes, I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. No, I don't know every name off the top of my head. I have not read the Silmarillion.
I mean, you're also
Thank you.
butchering the actual plot, but that's okay.
Yes, close enough.
Because he
So
doesn't.
that's
He thinks that Frodo's dead after he takes care of Shelob. So
that's right. And he takes the ring because he thinks that it's his job now.
yeah,
So okay, sorry about that.
that's okay. We still love you, even though you're bad at this.
Never said I wasn't.
But yeah, so what is the one permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn? Is that supposed to be the ring, or is that supposed to be Frodo? Because he thinks he's dead, but he's not.
I could see it
Guess
being.
Frodo.
I was thinking Frodo because at the end
I was too.
he does then save Frodo. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but I love that he's holding up the light of Arendelle, and he's got Sting, and he's about to whoop some. I mean, she's not a spider exactly, but evil spider-shaped darkness ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the flavor text. You've hurt my master, you brute, and you'll pay for it. Like, as awesome as Sam is in the movie, he's like twice as much of a badass in the book. I will give
Yeah.
the book that. Like, it gave me chills reading through, which actually it's at the end of The Two Towers, not at the beginning of Return of the King, but, cinematic purposes, they moved it for the movies. But yeah, it gave me chills when he showed up and saved the day. I was like, oh, damn!
Yep.
So yeah, I like it. And he has Flash because he, shows up out of nowhere.
Shows up.
Yeah. All right, then we have our villain. Well, one of our villains. This villain.
yes.
So that would be Gollum, patient plotter. For one and a black, he's a 3/1 legendary creature, halfling horror.
I completely missed that.
So when Gollum, patient plotter, leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you.
Huh.
And for a black mana, sacrifice a creature, return Gollum from your graveyard to your hand, activate only as a sorcery. And his flavor text says, "They'll take it, steal my precious thieves. We hate them."
And we do. Donovan Bain said that Sam has flash because he has the flashlight. Boo! I like this card, but I don't quite. I'm not feeling the flavor on it for Gollum.
I like it because what it is if he's gone, he disappears. But if you sacrifice a creature, he reappears because he probably took somebody out.
Yeah, just you think he's gone, but then he just shows up late. Just shows up later to murder someone.
The books honestly do an interesting job of contrasting him. He appears so pitiful all the time, and he's literally like the one guy that you're like, he really can't hurt anybody, and then he just murders like a lot of people, and so many people get a hold of him, and they're like, yeah, you're horrible, but you're not imposing. You're not like this orc over here, this goblin that's shooting at me, or a Balrog, or anything. You're just a nearly naked dude who has his bare fists, and he's like, yeah, that's me. And then you turn around and he strangles you. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then we have Mount Doom, which, of course, is a legendary land. And you tap and pay 1 life to add black or red mana, which, that makes sense. It's a pain land. Okay.
It's a pain land.
For 1, a black and a red, and tap, it deals 1 damage to each opponent, which is... It's an eruption, I guess. That's cool, because it's a volcano. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like it because, no one simply walks into Mordor.
No.
And then
because it's full of toxic gas and everything else. So that's sort of what it strikes me as is if you're gonna go there, you're gonna take some damage.
We'll go with that. And then we're not done yet. For 5, a black and a red, and tap, and sacrifice Mount Doom and a legendary artifact. They're going super top down on this one. Speaking of going super top down, so you sacrifice Mount Doom and a legendary artifact. You choose up to 2 creatures, then destroy the rest. Activate only as a sorcery. Just that had to be where they started from, and they worked backwards.
I'm thinking, yeah. Very good chance of that, yes.
Cause like, who survives the eruption after the One Ring is destroyed? Oh, Sam and Frodo.
Yep. And I like, so the ring is indestructible. You have to go to Mount Doom because it's a sacrifice effect.
Yup.
So you can't just get rid of it anywhere.
Yup. Yeah, you can't disenchant the One Ring. Even if it's yours, you have to sacrifice it. And you have to willingly sacrifice it, Donovan Bain points out. Correct. Like I said, it was clearly a top-down design, and I really like it because of that. Plus, it's still, functional as a pain land.
Yeah.
If nothing else. A pain land and a source of ping damage, if nothing else. So, alright, then we get to... So the One Ring and one other card were revealed the day before this in, I think it was an IGN article for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love it, and it's Gandalf. Because Gandalf is so mechanically glorious. So somebody read Gandalf.
All right.
Oh,
I guess I'll read Gandalf.
Gandalf the Grey.
Did all 3 of you just pipe up
Yeah.
at exactly the same time? That's amazing. We've been doing this for so many years. They all waited what they thought was an appropriate amount of time and were like, fine, I'll do it. Except
All right.
they've trained themselves so well after all these years that appropriate amount of time is the same for all of them.
So Gandalf the Grey is an is it character because okay, so he's not gray at all. For three, a blue and a red. He is a 3/4 legendary avatar wizard,
Yes.
which that's interesting. Um, he's now listen to this. This version is a rare. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, choose one that hasn't been chosen of the
Right.
following.
Now, there was a
You may
question in the Discord. It is not this turn. It's one that hasn't been chosen before.
correct. There's been a bunch of these, like the Demon Pact and a
Yep.
couple of those where it keeps track.
Exactly.
Um, so triggers when you cast an instant or sorcery spell, no matter if that spell resolves or whatever. So you play the spell, you cast the spell, and then this ability happens first. That ability being either you may tap or untap target permanent,
Okay.
copy. I'm sorry, Gandalf the Grey deals 3 damage to each opponent.
He is a servant of the Secret Fire, after all.
True. Copy target instant or sorcery spell you control, like the one that's on the stack. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, put Gandalf on top of its owner's library, which is how you reset these effects.
So, I can't take credit for this. I don't remember who said it, but I saw on Twitter that someone said they made Gandalf a conjurer of cheap tricks. Because each of these 3 abilities are spells that cost like 2 or 3 mana.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
made me happy because, of the line where he says, I'm not simply some conjurer of cheap tricks.
I'm trying to help you.
But I love that the final ability there, put Gandalf on top of its owner's library, is legitimately perfect flavor for Gandalf, who is famous for just pissing off and doing his own thing at a moment's notice.
Yep.
Yeah.
He does it, I
Because-
think, twice in The Hobbit.
Yep.
And he does it
A
multiple
lot
times in Lord of the Rings.
A lot of the story is, Gandalf could save the day if he was here. Quick, how do we make
How do
Gandalf
we
be
write ourselves
anywhere
out of
else?
that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, if Gandalf was here, we wouldn't have been captured by giant spiders. So Gandalf left right before we walked into Mirkwood.
Yeah, totally. That is exactly what happened.
But yeah, I just love the flavor.
Flavor. And it's a good card.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
a lot of
flavor is-
fun.
Yeah. And it's not a single one of these says draw a card.
Right. Because that would be weird on Gandalf.
Yeah. He doesn't really like to explain things.
Yeah, no. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if one of his was, like, put a card from your hand on top of your library. Because Gandalf does not expound. He's like, this is what we're doing. Shut up. But the fact that he is an avatar wizard makes me so happy. So, people who were only fans of the movies, you might not know this, but the wizards aren't old men.
Nope.
They're called Maiar. And they're, for lack of like, this isn't a one-to-one, but they're essentially angels sent
That's
to Earth
exactly what I thought you
in
were
human
gonna say.
form.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the quickest shorthand way to explain it, to make people go, oh.
Yeah. No, that's accurate.
And I really appreciate that they added that little bit of flavor here in his type line. Because, yeah, if he was just a wizard, God, if that said human wizard, I was gonna riot. Like,
Makes
That
me
would not have
wanna
gone into the theme.
makes me wonder. I want to see the Saruman card, and I'm sure he's probably also an Avatar wizard.
Oh yeah.
But
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also hope that there are two versions. There's a Saruman the White and a Saruman of many colors. But I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd, so that didn't make it into the
yeah,
movies for some reason. But
I think it probably would have been a bit much for the movies.
so yeah, and he's got his wizard staff and his crap. Which one was his? Orcrist?
No, Glamdring.
Glamdring was Gandalf's. Yeah. Which one was Glamdring? The foe hammer? Yeah, and Orcrist was the
Same,
goblin
so.
cleaver. I'm pretty sure.
Was that what Orcrist was? The Goblin Cleaver?
Something like that. Chat says Saruman of many colors should be a warlock avatar, but that would make people riot. Would it though? Yeah. I could see it though, because he totally is a warlock because he's made a deal with Sauron.
Yeah,
that
it's the
that
foe hammer.
that yeah, that totally works.
Glamdring's the foe hammer.
Man, now I want to see a for all the D&D nerds out there. Kind of want to see a new Warlock pact for fifth edition. You know, your patron is the Dark Lord. Well, I mean, and you've already got angels and demons and that sort of stuff, and old ones, but like Sauron specifically. Here's a nice piece of jewelry. Go bring it to me.
And Orcrist was the goblin cleaver. I remember things. Anyway, Orcrist was the one that Thorin took from the troll horde
Okay.
in The Hobbit.
Yep.
Hey, Scuzzo, thank you for that 60-month resub. All right, so then we have a story beat here with You Cannot Pass. Nice.
I mean,
I'll take this one because it's nice
everybody-
and simple. You cannot pass for a single white. It's an uncommon instant. Destroy target creature that blocked or was blocked by a legendary creature this turn. And this is, of course, Gandalf facing off against the Balrog of Morgoth on the Khazad-dûm.
The Bridge of Khazad-dûm.
Yeah, thank you. Khazad-dûm is the cavern, the chasm, isn't it? It
Yes.
raised the whip, and the thongs whined and cracked. Fire came from its nostrils, but Gandalf stood firm.
Now,
Yeah, I don't see wings on that Balrog, and that's good, because Balrogs don't have wings. Fight me. What were you about to say, Brian?
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the movies have. Some people feel like the movies are better. Some people are purists and say the books are better. I think both have their place.
Yep.
But absolutely, the movie did a fantastic job. Ian McKellen did a fantastic job with his delivery of that line and that the whole speech to the Balrog prior to that. Just
Yep.
a fantastic job. So
As Ian McKellen is wont to do. He tends to kill it when it comes to the whole, acting thing.
Yes.
I like that. What is it? Acting? Oh yes.
As John Lovitz would say, acting! If you're old, you get that joke. But yeah, it's just a nice little white combat trick like you do. And the fact that it's limited to legendary creatures means they can make it cost 1 and it's perfectly balanced. I love it. I can't wait to see what the Balrog, not just the art, but I can't wait to see what they do with it because Balrogs are terrifying. Like, having learned more about what Balrogs are in Tolkien, like, The fact that one showed up means they all should have died. All of them, all of them.
If Gandalf wasn't there, they absolutely would have. Boromir would have been like, I am the best warrior, and the Balrog would have been like, you taste great.
Smush. You know how long it's been since I had man paste? Because that's all that would be left. And then he'd scrape him up and put him on bread. Anyway. Alright, so then we have another simple card and then a ridiculous card.
Yeah.
So the simple card, I'll do that one too. I'll leave all the good ones for y'all. Reprieve. For 1 and a white is an instant. 1 and a white. 1 and a white is an instant that says return target spell to its owner's hand. Draw a card. What?
Oh, it's a color shifted
Yeah.
romance.
I know.
Yep. And in the stream, they said that players have been waiting and calling for this for literally forever.
Really?
So, yeah. Apparently
Weird.
this has been on their to-do list. Remember back in Planar Chaos, they were like, if we were going to shift counter spells to another color, what would it be? Oh yeah, white. So
Weird.
that's a thing.
So, yeah, and the art is Faramir and Eowyn. I think this is after the war, I want to say. Or maybe as the last remnants of the Gondorian army were marching off to Mount Doom. That's probably it. Or marching off to the Black Gate. That's probably it. That feels right. I don't know if it is or not.
Yeah, I don't remember in the book where it occurs.
I know that Eowyn was out for a while, and I think Faramir, and so was Faramir for that matter. But I can't remember if they woke up after everything was over or after just the first part of everything was over.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either. But anyway, it's Faramir and Eowyn standing there watching something, and it says, as Faramir and Eowyn stood so, their hands met and clasped, though they did not know it. Because Faramir, you know, if you've got a thing for Aragorn, but Aragorn's spoken for, Faramir is about as close as you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Like he's like Strider 2.0.
Yeah, not a
Yeah.
Dunedain ranger.
Yeah, but he is a great and wise and gentle man, while still being
He's a lot
the warrior.
he's a lot wiser than his brother and a heck of a lot more sane than his dad.
Not that takes much.
No.
Because his dad was poisoned by Sauron because he was using the Palantir, and Sauron was showing him that all was lost and hopeless, and you can't possibly defeat me. And you know, just like in life, you know, if you hear something long enough, you start to believe it might be true.
Are you saying the Palantir is Twitter?
Yeah, the Palantir was social media,
Yes.
and look what it did.
Okay.
It almost did to Gondor. So okay, then we have Tom Bombadil.
So there's a reason that Tom Bombadil was left out of the movies, and believe it or not, as much as I think he's kind of a quirky guy in the book, and I don't mind him being there, he serves a point in the story. It was correct to leave him out of the movie because it would have taken away a bit, I think. First of all, the movies are long enough, and yes, as much as I like them, they are long enough. But it kind of defeats the point. You're watching the movie, and what is the first movie trying to do? It's trying to build up the ring. It's trying to build up the Nazgul, and like these things can't be defeated. This is going to be the ruin of the world. And in the first act, you're like, hey, I can put this on and nothing bad happens. Here, you guys go, take it hundreds of miles to the enemy's doorstep while I'm here. In the books, it works. In the movie, that would just be like, why? So,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Donovan Bain just said a conversation on Reprieve's discussion. Boromir would have countered the spell completely. Get off Reddit, Denethor.
uh,
Oh man. Also, we got Squee in the chat. Hey, buddy. I tried to get Squee on the actual episode, but Squee was tired. So I tried for you, chat. I tried for you, not for us. We don't even like him,
no.
right, guys?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
But anyway,
Let's go
so-
with yeah.
I'll
So
read Tom Bombadil.
yeah, go. Gee, somebody read Tom Bombadil. He's ridiculous.
So Tom Bombadil is a Wooburg. White, blue, black, red, green. He's a 4/4 legendary creature, God Bard. who's
Which is
mythic.
hilarious.
Yeah.
As long as there are 4 or more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom Bombadil has hexproof and indestructible. Whenever the final chapter ability of a saga you control resolves, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a saga card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This ability triggers only once each turn.
So let's start with God Bard. So nobody quite knows exactly what Tom Bombadil is. There are many theories.
Yeah.
Like, some people even have theorized that he is either Eru Iluvatar, who is essentially God, or like a piece of Eru Iluvatar on Middle Earth. Like, it goes that far. Like, oh, well, he's just, the creator of all things. What?
And the bard part is he sings.
Constantly.
Like,
Yes.
annoyingly sing.
Like, if there's a saga with the word Goldberry in it, you better have 4 copies of that in your Tom Bombadil deck.
Goldberry,
that's his wife.
her name.
He
That's
sings
her
about
name.
Goldberry constantly.
All the time. Yeah. Ladies, if you're looking for someone who will sing your praises all the time, and we really do mean all the time, then Tom Bombadil may be the man you're looking for.
But yeah, like, he's like Brian said, like, he takes the ring from Frodo and holds it up and then slips it on his little finger and goes, "Huh," and then gives it back to Frodo because he is completely unaffected by such things.
Yeah.
Because he is as he puts it, he is the lord of his domain. But his domain is very limited. Like, outside of his domain, honestly, we don't even know if he can exist outside of where he
Right.
is marked down as his.
Yeah, it's not really explored. So,
But-
and at one point they're like, we should leave the ring with him, but they did make a point of saying if they did, at some point Mordor would find him. So it wouldn't be a.
He's also incredibly forgetful, so the concern is he would just leave it somewhere.
Yeah, Gandalf was like,
nobody forgot that.
he would forget that he has it because such matters are of no importance to Tom Bombadil. So
Yeah.
he would be very vigilant for, a few minutes.
Yeah, the only thing he
Being
can
banned or something.
the only thing he can care about long term is Goldberry. After that,
Yep.
it's just kind of
Yeah. So, but he's got a bright blue coat and golden boots and a hot I don't remember what Goldberry is. She's not an elf. Was she? No. I don't remember what Goldberry was.
I don't know.
But he's got a hot wife and gold boots and a blue waistcoat, and he loves to sing.
These are his identifying features, yes.
Yeah. But the fact that he works with stories, because that's what sagas are, is pretty good. And when he finishes a song, he starts a new song. I love it.
All the time.
Plus, apparently people have been wanting a gold saga lord for a while. So, there you go. Oh, yeah, okay. She was a river spirit. She was the river's daughter. Yeah, there we go. That's the term. Thank you.
Okay.
Chifuji said on Arenas they should just have him singing nonstop. You go to hell. I don't even play Arena, and you go to hell.
No, that's what'll happen is as soon as you see the card, whether it's you open him in a pack, he's in your draft pool, an opponent plays him, it just starts singing. And you know how you get rid of it? DLC.
Will you shut up? They might hear you.
Are you implying that Wizards has eyes and ears everywhere, even here in the Shire? Nah, we're fine. We're cool.
I know at some point a couple of people at Wizards at least used to listen to the show. So
Okay.
Random Kho said to make a modern analogy, Tom is Tolkien's cameo in the story. Sorta. I can see that.
He's
I mean, he wrote a lot of songs to go with it. The Hobbit is full of songs.
He's the Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah, he's the self-insert.
Oh man, I like that.
Yeah.
So why do we have the One Ring again? It was right there, and now it's right.
So
They do
well
all
here,
versions.
well here's the thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
first of all, they want to do promotional aspects, and what they're doing with the One Ring, I actually don't mind. The
I think
One
it's
Ring
cool, too.
and the Soul Rings. So there are Soul Ring reprints here, but each one is in a different art style. Three for the dwarves. No,
Nope.
3 for the elves, 5 for the dwarves, and
7 for the
9
dwarves, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die. Yeah.
Thank you. So there are actually, and yes, you can call this FOMO and other bad words, but what they're doing is in collectors boosters there are these limited runs of these, right? And the number that are available in print just to open are tied to what type it is. So there are 900 of the ones for humans in print. There are 700 of the dwarves, and there are 300 of the elvens. And there's
Yeah,
Those are the foils.
Yeah, the foils, and then the normals have thousands.
right.
3, 7, and 9
then
thousands.
And then for the One Ring, one lucky person is going to open a collector's booster of this. Some people might go, wow, this is clearly a cash grab. And I mean, yeah.
I mean,
But
yeah.
honestly, I actually don't have a problem with this. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but I think it's more just kind of neat for that one person to be like, hey, here's this cool thing I opened the one time.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
it will.
it's literally the One Ring.
Yeah.
Because they're like it even says it right here. 1 out of 1. It's on the card. And it's the One Ring, and it's just the black speech. Like it doesn't even have what the ring does, because it doesn't matter what the ring does for this version.
Right.
No.
Right. And if you want to sleeve it up and play it in a tournament, it
Please don't.
is please don't.
Oh, come on. That's
Please
like Mega
don't.
Baller status.
Like
Somebody
Make sure
find
it's
Mike. Somebody find Mike and tie him down. And Mike, if you open it and you play it without a sleeve, I swear to God.
so
I'm not a savage. I've grown up since then.
but again, I think it's neat, and the reason I'm okay with this is like Chewie said, it's the One Ring. If this was a mechanically unique thing, think of like the some of the secret layers, like the
Mm.
Stranger Things, or what was the first one that was so offensive? The
Oh, The
Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead.
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
If this was a if this was a 1995 world champion sort of card where literally this was the only version of it that works like this, I would be like, yeah, that's whack. But the fact that this card, if you want to play the One Ring, is available by the thousands, but one person gets it, great, good for them.
Yeah, like, so to be clear, we're being literal. What they said was there's one copy of this that will
Yeah,
be in either an English language, oh, it is a collector booster, or
yeah,
the gift
it's
bundle. Oh,
Yeah,
because that's got a collector booster in it. Okay.
yeah. So
right.
it might the collector booster that it is in might show up in a gift bundle or just somewhere else.
Yeah. So there's one.
This is it.
This is even more rare than Willy Wonka's golden tickets because there were 5 of those,
Mm.
Mm.
and there's one. Now, a question that I have seen is what are the odds? Because as we have been pointed out, been pointing out for years now, Wizards quality control is not as good as it once was. What are the chances that the one pack that this goes in will be damaged and like the one copy of the One Ring will be cramped at the top?
Wow, man. I mean, yes, but I'm kind of a little like, we can't have nice things anymore. Come on, come on.
The other thing that's gonna piss me off is like when Star City Games in one of the packs that they're opening for singles is who opens this. Boo!
I thought about saying that, and
That'll
I
be a little
decided to not
disappointing.
even go there. Yeah.
But yeah, like I've seen people complain about this, and in fact, there was someone in the chat earlier who's like, I have a problem with this card, and it's got nothing to do with the card. But like, why? It's fine. It's
Yeah.
sports cards have been doing these like limited edition collectors things for years. So, and sports cards are still a thing, believe it or not. I was surprised when I found out, but it's like a thriving industry. So, it's a relatively harmless way to make some hype happen, and that's fine, you know. And yeah, Chifuji pointed out there are already bounties put out by Magic Whales for at least $100,000. Like
Mhm.
I saw a post from what's his name? I forgot his name. Who was like, "Okay, I'm putting this out there. I will offer $100,000 for the One Ring, but if you accept this, then you can't tell anyone that you opened it."
Uh,
And I'm like, how about
oh,
I
for
take the
tax.
150 that someone else will offer me, and I tell everybody?
Yeah. Not to mention, sorry to be that guy, but for tax purposes, you better tell somebody.
But yeah, whatever. Like this is gonna buy someone a car or a house or pay their rent for a year or something, you
or a,
know. And I'm
or
all
a
for
car
that.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
If they're living in a van down by the river, then it'll keep gas in the van, you know, whatever.
Yeah. I
But
too, I too just hope it gets opened by a random anybody. Um, but it's just a little neat thing.
also, I love the soul rings that are the other rings of power, and the fact that they're in the hundreds and thousands make them still special, but not, you know, stupidly impossible to
Yeah.
get special.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Yeah.
good.
So, yeah, that's that. Anything else on the this? This is when you keep seeing serialized, it means the serial number like 1 of 1 or 832 of 3000. That's what
Hmm.
it means by serialized. It means there's a, a very obvious limited number of them. Although I don't see the serialization shown anywhere on these digital mock-ups of the or the soul rings.
Yeah, the well, some of them are the ones that are all lined up together in the big picture that explains where to find them. The non-foil ones are not serialized. We just know how many there are. The foil ones are serialized.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, and it's in the foil. Okay, so these are the non-foil versions in this art here, and then down here, yeah, you can see the serial number, which is in the art box. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
There you go. RTFA. Read the
Hmm.
friendly article.
Yeah. And the fact that they publicize exactly how many, still makes it special in that way. There's only 3,000 of the Elven style ones.
Yeah. And again, it's just a way to get people to buy collector boosters. But
Hmm.
if you've already got a bunch of soul rings, like a bunch of us do, then you can ignore this completely and it's fine. So that's that. Now, for anyone, I forget who it was that had a problem with the 1 of 1. Feel free to air your grievance in the chat so we can see where you're coming from, because I'm curious. Because as you know, I love to rip on Wizards' business decisions. It gives me life. But I see no problem with this beyond the usual marketing stunt.
Yeah.
Printing one though, that takes such balls.
Yeah.
I will
But it
give them
feels
that.
appropriate here. Yeah.
It is. I really hope that they make two so that, they were all of them deceived. For another ring was made.
Wah, wah, wah.
I mean, they probably are going to print more than one, in a single run, and then choose the best one to actually put into the pack, just to make sure that they're
Yeah.
set up to just print one copy, and then it just comes out screwed up just off the printer, and like, oh well, no. So I'm pretty sure that in real life they are going to print more than one and just pick the best one, put it into the pack, and then run the rest through a shredder or something.
Yeah. Like maybe keep one in a vault, like the second one in a vault somewhere in Wizards. Maybe.
Yeah.
It'd be
Maybe in
really
case something publicly horrible happens to the other one that was in the wild.
well, and I was also thinking of when Zendikar came out and they had the discovered treasures or whatever, and oh, we just had these cards lying around, so
Eh,
happen to have this second copy of the ring.
that'd be a jerk
Yeah.
move.
Yeah. Now someone in the chat earlier did say that if you open this, you should be obligated to take it to a volcano and drop it in, and I agree. Or get to the top of the volcano, go to drop it in, and then turn, look the camera dead in the eye, and put it in a sleeve, and then have an invisible
No.
person bite your fingers off.
That seems very complicated. I mean, I get what you're doing here.
Suffer for your art. Anyway, should we talk about some more stuff? Let's talk about some
We should
more
talk about
stuff.
some more stuff. So, the relics and relic box toppers are cards that exist, but kind of like how that we have the Transformers cards. I think back with Ixalan, they had the the guy with the thing, the
Godzilla.
Godzilla cards.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. So here we have existing cards that are renamed and have art that pertain to the setting of Lord of the Rings. Like the Great Hedge is the Party Tree, which the Great Hedge is an awesome, awesome card.
Hinge.
So, henge,
Hinge.
and you know I can't talk.
Also, I
So,
forgot to mention it earlier. I love that you made the demon from Faust into a Greek guy.
He's always said Mephistopheles.
I know. And it has always been funny to me.
glad I could provide you with some entertainment.
But yeah, the party tree is, from the beginning of Fellowship and Bilbo's 111st birthday party. Yeah, that's cool. And then the ensnaring bridge becomes the bridge of Khazad Dûm, which is the exact opposite of ensnaring, but we'll give it to him. There aren't that many bridge cards in Magic.
Yeah. Without like actually making a new card, the point was to use existing cards. So
I guess I could have gone for Tendo Ice Bridge.
if they really wanted to go with the theme of you can't pass, and maybe the Balrog is greater than the power in your hand, they could show it breaking. You know,
See what you did
and
there.
then and Valley of Gorgoth is wasteland. They made a very particular point of saying these cards are only legal in the formats they're already legal in. Don't get crazy. This is not putting Wasteland into modern or anything.
Yeah.
So
I saw two tweets from two different people seconds apart that said word for word, not all the box toppers will be modern legal. And they both had a picture of Valley of Gorgoroth. And I was like, all right, y'all. Did you guys get a group rate or something? But yeah, the Valley of Gorgoroth is the plain of Mordor on the way to Mount Doom. And it is a barren wasteland. So, makes perfect
it's
sense.
just the worst. Parts of toward the end of Return of the King is hard to read because Sam and Frodo go through some hell,
That
literally.
part of the book, both Sam and Frodo's part in the Two Towers and the Return of the King, is slow, monotonous, just like their trip to Mount Doom.
Yeah, and when
Is
something
slow
does
and
happen,
monotonous.
it's just depressing.
Yeah.
Like
Uh
when I read the books, everyone else's part was like, I flew through those chapters, and then when I got to Sam and Frodo's parts, it took me like a month to read those chapters.
But I wonder how much of that is deliberate on his part because
I mean, I'm
it,
sure it was, but that's very clever, but it sucks to read. Like
Yeah.
oh, as somebody that read every page to my daughter, I'm with you.
Oh
Every
god, yeah, I can't
page.
imagine having to work. Oh, did she have nightmares for like that month? Like what the hell?
No,
She
she
seemed
just
okay,
really went to
but
sleep really fast in those sections.
Squee did say that he's not going to buy any of this, but if someone gets the One Ring and gives it to him, he will publicly take it to a volcano and destroy it, and he'll even bring me to carry him back down. I don't. I think you overestimate how strong I am, but I'll go. I'll gladly go to Hawaii with you, buddy.
you only have to make it a little way down, and then some big birds are going to pick you up and fly
Oh,
you
that's
off.
true. Yeah, they're called airplanes.
Yes, that's it. Them. That's them exactly.
Lord.
And we'll arrange for Tom Bombadil to sing to you. He'll be the aisle seat in your row.
Of course he will. Why do they have the box toppers twice?
Because one of the, I don't know why they do this because it doesn't show up on the website. Like one is normal and one is supposed to represent the surge foil version, but they don't look any different in the renderings that they put up. So I don't know why they bother.
What's a surge foil?
I don't know. It was some special thing that I think they first did for Warhammer 40K. I haven't seen any in real life, so I don't know exactly what they look like. It's a special premium treatment.
Oh, okay, got it. Because the collector numbers
And
are
these
different.
frames, yeah, these frames are actually, yeah, they've started doing that with some of the special versions. These frames look a lot like the Warhammer Commander frames, like a lot.
I mean, they're the standard frame, the standard like extended art frame, aren't they, or borderless art or whatever?
Well, maybe it's a. I'm talking about um, like the little triangular security sticker and the other
Oh,
stuff around it.
that was before you got here. Dirk pointed out in the pre-show that yeah, what's with the triangle on the bottom? And Brian and I were both like, "The hell are you talking about?" Because neither of us noticed that the security sticker on these wasn't an oval; it's a triangle. And
Like, was that on other Universes Beyond stuff that I
well,
just
if
didn't
you're saying
notice?
it was on the Warhammer ones, then that must be an indication of Universes Beyond. Because what I
Yeah.
said in the pre-show was I don't know if that's a Universes Beyond thing or if that's just a Lord of the Rings thing. Because if you scroll up to the regular cards, scroll, and look at the booster symbol, it's got the triangle behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah, the booster symbol, the expansion symbol. It's the one ring with the triangle behind it. And I was like, so I don't know if that's just a Lord of the Rings thing that they're incorporating, or if it means Universes Beyond. But according to what we've just learned from Mike, it must be a Universes Beyond thing.
Yeah, I just don't remember what the Stranger Things or Walking Dead things look like.
Those
Other
were
than that.
secret layers, so they might not matter. Knowing wizards. Oh, hey, we've got the Lorien brooch too. Brooch.
Brooch. That's a word I know how to pronounce.
Like I've never heard anyone actually use the word brooch, this kind of brooch, out loud. I've only ever seen it written, so my brain is like brooch, but I know it's brooch because I know things. And it's
Right.
Trailblazers boots. That's actually pretty neat. I missed this one while I was scrolling through earlier. Anyway. All right, so that's stuff from the set. Then we've got because capitalism, you can't just release a set and be like, here's a bunch of cards. You have to have starter sets and commander decks and I don't know, stuff that you find in Pop Tarts or whatever, like
Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets. Yeah, I saw Magic the Gathering on a Hot Pocket box earlier today, and I was like, "What?" And I took a picture of it and sent it to the Dorks. And Brian was like, "Yeah," and I went, "What?"
Yeah, Penny Arcade talked about this like a month ago.
Yeah, apparently it's got like arena codes for some sort of starter deck or something. I was like, "Oh, that's cute." But anyway, so we've got two cards in the starter kit here, which the starter kit, that's the two decks that teach you how to play, right? Yeah. And these are actually pretty sweet for a variety of reasons. So we've got Aragorn and Arwen, wed, which is such a weird name for a card. But for 4 and a green and a white, they're a legendary 3/6 human elf noble, because one's a human and one's an elf, and they're both nobles. So there you go. Excuse me. They have vigilance, because of course they do, because this is after everything. So you got to have vigilance. And whenever Aragorn and Arwen wed enters the battlefield or attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control, and you gain 1 life for each other creature you control. And that is truly a leader of people with those abilities.
Like it. Now,
Yeah.
my question is, this still has the set symbol on it. Are these available in booster packs,
No.
and they're only available through the starter kit?
Yeah, there are 10 cards that are only in this. 5 in each deck, and these two are
Okay.
the headliners.
Okay, it just makes my head hurt trying to think of what's actually in this set and what isn't.
I
And they
mean,
would say it is in the set, and I'm like, if I can't open it up in a draft booster, it's not in this set. It's in a product, but whatever.
well, I mean, and this is the thing that we've been complaining about for years at this point, so it's not
Actually,
like it's new.
years, yes.
Yeah.
No, no. I have trouble. Honestly, I have trouble keeping all the separate products apart. So
Well, yeah.
I'm just, I'm just angry about. It. Maybe I'll just become a dark lord and send out my minions over the earth, like
Maybe.
Sauron, the lidless eye, who's a
I mean, we weren't
well,
we weren't done with Aragorn and Arwen yet, but go ahead. You had such a good segue, and I'm just interrupting it.
I didn't. Well, I mean, you want to attack with Aragorn and Arwen, and you want to have lots of creatures.
I mean, there's more of that isn't just what the
Then,
card says. But go ahead, read
then
Sauron.
okay, all right, Sauron, the lidless eye.
Sauron.
Sauron. This guy, the lidless eye, for 3 a black and a red. He is an avatar horror. He's legendary because, of course, he is. There's only one Sauron. He's a 4/4 for 5. When he enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it. It gains haste until end of turn. So gimme. And then for 1 a black and a red, creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Each opponent loses 2 life, which that is just a great clock to put them on. Because even if you're at a stalemate, you can just be like, take 2 of your life, take 2 of your life. Well, not take like drain, but like just ping you over and over again for 3 mana. That's not a lot for a repeatable effect. That also pumps your creatures, including him. Didn't say other creatures you control.
Oh God, it doesn't. Ugh.
Play this guy, swing, pump, and with every pump, yeah, this makes combat math hard.
Yeah, but I love that. Just like the ring, Sauron is inevitable. Like, if you don't fight back, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And I love that. And
Yeah,
also,
that's appropriate.
I'm not entirely sure of the flavor of snatching something until end of turn.
He is a very, very good at tempting people. Look at Saruman. Look at Boromir's dad, whose name I can't always remember.
Denethor.
Denethor. I mean, especially before he was out and out like, hey, look, I'm a bad guy. He was really good at making people do what he wanted them to do. So
that is true because Sauron, above all things, is a deceiver.
Yes. You really want to come over here and fight for me. It'll be worth it. I'll give you some more power. It'll be great. And if nothing else, the other side is going to lose. Here's your chance to come over with me. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So, but then...
I love in his art that he's missing the fingers on his right hand.
Yes.
Because, when... oh, no. Isildur, thank you. Yeah, Isildur's Bane. Yeah, when... Yeah. No, it was...
Isildur, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right.
Oh, it was after his dad fell. He took up his father's sword. There we go, yeah. But yeah, after Isildur picked up the blade that was broken and took a swipe, it lopped his fingers off. Now, like, Sauron he's not actually missing fingers on that hand because that physical body was destroyed and now he's got a different one. And he wouldn't make a new physical body that's missing fingers because that's imperfect, and Sauron does not do imperfect. But the flavor to put it in the art is just mwah, as a representation.
Yeah. As a quick little part, his creature type is legendary creature Avatar Horror.
Yeah,
I don't think Brian mentioned it.
Oh, I thought he
I thought
did.
I
I
did.
wasn't. I zoned out, as I frequently do in Brian Talks. But yeah, because
Fair.
Sauron is also one of the Maiar, like the wizards. He's
Yeah.
just one that went bad.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's an avatar as well is perfect.
Yes.
But yeah, that's why. Like Sauron has had his physical form destroyed. Oh God, multiple times.
Twice.
Just picked this thing up from the cleaners.
It's got to be more than
Now
twice.
now it's got Hobbit on it. I need a new one.
Because you never see his form once he, after the bat was it the one at the Black Gate and everything, or where not at the Black Gate,
The
but
last battle of elves and men.
right. So
Yeah, in the movie,
you don't
you never see
hear
him
about
again.
him having the body in the Third Age, just that body was destroyed, and then
when Numenor was
Numenor is
destroyed, he lost his physical body. I thought he lost it in there again somewhere.
technically he
Keep the
died 3
body.
times, but
Was he
finally
also
one
the,
stuck.
was he also the necromancer that people were talking about?
He was,
was.
yeah.
He was. Yeah.
He set up shop in Mirkwood as the necromancer, and then got chased off by Gandalf and crew, as shown really, really stupidly in the Hobbit movies. God, I hate those movies.
It's
Oh,
it's
man.
like as awesome as the Lord of the Rings movies were. The Hobbit just didn't.
Yeah, it was equally not awesome.
I have not shown Sam the Hobbit movies.
Well, they're bad, so
They're just a drag.
yeah. Like they took a kid's book that would have fit pretty well into one movie and absolutely would have been brilliant as 2 movies, and stretched that out into 3 and added in just hours and hours and hours of filler that didn't matter and didn't go anywhere and didn't add anything and was crap. And not only that, but because the Lord of the Rings movies were in pre-production for years to make sure everything was right, and the Hobbit movies were in pre-production for, I think it was months to make what it did, and there have been many fan edits to turn it into one. I know Alex Shaw did. I think he turned it into 2, and there's been a video on my recommended stuff on YouTube for the last week that's like, I turned the Hobbit movies into 1 and you can watch it. And I'm like, I don't care. I've got the Rankin Bass cartoon, which is already perfect. But but anyway, yeah, quick rant about the Hobbit movies. Poor Guillermo, there we go, Del Toro was supposed to do it, and he backed out for reasons, and they were like, crap, we need to get this done. Peter Jackson, you do it. And he was like, piss. Because he didn't have time to do it proper. But he didn't have a choice, apparently, so they turned out crap. It's not his fault. It's Warner Brothers. Blame them. Warner Brothers? New Line?
Sony? I don't know. I don't remember. New Line?
New Line is the studio that did it.
The Lord of the Rings movies, did they do the Hobbit movies too, or had they already been absorbed by then? I don't remember. It was the studio's fault, is my point. But okay, so going back to Aragorn and Arwen, of course, the section of capital G gamers, TM, who would be upset about this sort of thing, are upset because if you look at the art, Aragorn is clearly not a white dude, which is accurate.
Yep.
But they mad, and I find that hilarious because I hope they die mad. Like, I love Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn a lot, but not book accurate. He was brown. So racists are going to racist. You correct. So, as I said, I hope they die mad. Because this is not based on the movies, this is based on the books. Ha 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 ha. Die mad. Okay. Is there anything else?
There's a couple things, but I don't know that it's anything we really have to get to. It's got stuff from Commander decks. Can I come back to something I did want to say? And there's some neat basic art land if you look at these. They had to make a point of saying during the show, because some of these promotional arts, when they line up, they make certain images. Like they have Frodo, Samwise, Gollum, and the One Ring, and they make a picture. They had to
Yeah.
make a point of saying, these do not make a full map. Please, please don't spend time to try to line these up. It won't work. So it's just places on the map that are associated with certain colors, like the Shire for the plains and Rohan, and then like for swamps, Mordor and the Dead Marshes, that sort of stuff. So,
Yeah.
but but
These are
here's what I
really
want to
cool.
say. Those are cool, and then there's some neat looking further versions of cards here. If you look down at the ones that have the ring style to them, here's what I'm gonna say. And I know we've talked before about alternate arts and different versions of things and how it can feel a bit tedious. But I don't I don't mind it so much on different cards. But they've already said there's going to be multiple versions of several characters. So we know there's going to be a couple different Frodos, right? Well,
Yeah.
for this one Frodo, we have 3 versions here. 3 just on this page alone. What is the easiest way to identify what card your opponent is playing?
I mean, it used to
Reading
be look at the art, but that ain't it anymore.
that's it exactly. So if I know, oh, you're playing Frodo, and I just glance over and I see the art of Frodo, unless every single one is like a different color or something, I'm not going to probably immediately link in, okay, it's that version of Frodo, which means I'm going to have to be reading my opponent's card all the time, which no, you shouldn't be reading your opponent's card every time they play it. If you're familiar with the set, you should be able to be like, oh, he played that Frodo card, and now here's what I do. Instead of like, oh, wait, this is version 3, card art number 2, borderless style with mayonnaise. I just,
Huh?
it's a little bit of a nitpick here for me, and you know what? It looks neat. And Arena will sort it out anyway, which I'm sure is people's answers to everything. Is Arena will take care of it. But I'm just saying, at what point does it just become a little too much for your memory to handle? So,
I
and
mean,
as somebody in the chat points out, Elish Norn had like 70 versions, and yes, and I agree with that. But there, at the time that Elish Norn was printed, there was only one Elish Norn legal and standard. It just was different art of that
Yeah.
same one. So,
oh,
Yeah,
I
that
hadn't
there will
even
be.
thought about that.
Yeah, that there will be multiple versions of some of these main characters makes a difference in
yes,
terms
that
of figuring out what the heck is going on.
exactly. So, but we'll see how it ends up.
I mean, it's not gonna be in a way that makes us happy because we're not the target audience because we don't throw money
Yeah.
at wizards like they are the answer.
But
So
neat
I
art
want
is
to.
neat, and I'm not nagging on these artists. They are pretty. What were
Oh
you gonna say?
yeah, I want to look at this giant tableau here of what is this? 18 cards that form a single scene. Whoops.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I want to see if we can figure out what these cards are real quick. So we've got, I guess that's gonna be Gondor or the White Tower or Minas Tirith, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then what is this? What are those? I don't remember bats being a thing.
I thought those were
Uh,
some of the spies.
maybe.
But this is during the battle at
Yeah.
the end. Like,
This is the Battle of Pelennor Fields.
thank you, that's the one.
Pretty clearly.
So I don't know what the bats are supposed to, unless they just worked it into the art to make it you know.
That could be, because
Yeah.
otherwise that is literally a plains. So,
So then we've got a fell beast. That's cool.
yep,
Then we've got the Witch King. That's real cool.
yep.
Uh, uh,
Mountain.
just is this like a mountain? Is this gonna be
Maybe it'll be a sorcery.
a
or
mountain
something.
range? Like I don't know what that's supposed to be.
The darkness descends or something like that.
Oh, that could be. It could be a spell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's supposed to be. I don't know
Or
which.
you're way in the background.
Yeah, is that supposed to be minus Morgul, or is that supposed to be Barad-dûr? I can't tell because the art's too small.
I think it's supposed to be Barad-dûr.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
Oh, okay. So then we've got the Mumakil in the second row. That's cool. The Riders of Rohan. That'll be fun. I'm gonna guess that's
I'm
Theoden?
saying Faramir.
No, Faramir was already unconscious in the
That's right.
and
That's
he's
right.
not
You're right.
Rohan anyway.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of Theoden's
Eomer. There we go.
Eomer. Thank you.
So
Thank
is
you.
that Theoden and Eomer? Like I don't know what who I'm pretty sure that's Theoden
Mm-hmm.
and some
I think
other
that
person.
matches up because Eowyn's 2 cards over.
Yeah, there's Eowyn clearly.
Yeah.
And
There's
I'm-
some kind of orcish general there next to him.
Maybe?
Yeah.
And then there's Eowyn, and then that's
That looks like the Witch King again, but
what?
no.
No, this is
No.
clearly that's gonna be the prince from. Oh, he didn't show up in the
Yes.
movies.
Yeah, no, from the other country that came in on a boat.
Damn it, I can't think of his name.
I mean, even in the book, he was kind of like he was gonna be a suitor for somebody, maybe Eowyn, and then he got turned down. So poor guy. But he's the prince guy from the other country.
I'm almost certain because I seem to remember the banner behind him being mentioned multiple times. So yeah, for those of you that are listening to the audio version, chat just pointed this out. We're looking at the 6x3 collage of cards that form a single picture and trying to figure out what's on each card.
Yeah.
So on the bottom, the first card is clearly going to be the Gondorian army somehow, and then orcs of some sort, and then that's got to be Aragorn.
It's got to be with not Narsil,
No,
but
it's
What the hell was the Flame of the
he
West?
renamed
and
it.
Anduril.
Yeah, Anduril, yes.
And then Legolas, and then Gimli, and then I can't. Is that a person? Is that
it
a?
is. It's the other Hobbit. It's the one that was with the Riders of Rohan.
Oh,
One
So
of
it would be
the-
not. It's Mary.
It's Mary Pippin. One of them
'Cause
became
Pippin's in the
the
city.
ward.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them became the ward to
Denethor.
the Denethor. Thank you. I was gonna say the guy's name I can't remember. The other one went into the battle. So
Yeah, because he is actually what allowed Eowyn to be able to take out the Witch King, because he had the ancient blade, the Numenorian, or was it Numenor? I forget. But the blade that was able to pierce and weaken the Witch King, so that Eowyn could then finish him.
yeah, he's like, hey, got your hamstring.
So yeah, we did miss 3 cards up here, including another version of Sam. And these are, what are these? These are in the commander decks, because there are 20 cards that are new to Magic in each deck. And it says new to Magic. Do you think that means not in the set?
New to Magic.
Like I think this is new terminology they're using to not keep saying exclusive.
3
I
of
guess.
diamonds.
I mean, in theory, every new card is new to Magic if it's not a reprint. But I don't know. That's just weird. There's a new Sam, there's a Radagast, and there's a Soul Ring. Which, yes, the Soul Ring works the way that you think it does,
And
but it's got some really
Radagast,
neat flavor text.
Does not have bird poop on his head. God, I hate those movies. Okay. So somebody read Sam and Radagast. Sam, and then someone else read Radagast real quick, and we'll wrap it
So
up.
Sam, loyal attendant, for one, a green and a white, is a legendary creature, halfling peasant, still a peasant. He's a 2/4, and he has partner with Frodo, adventurous hobbit.
Yes.
So, yay, partner. Which we don't know what Frodo, adventurous hobbit does, but doesn't really matter for this discussion. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a food token, which is a reminder text of what a food token does. And they did say that food would be a sub-theme for hobbits, which makes lots of sense. Activated abilities of foods you control cost 1 generic less to activate. So now they have pay 1, tap, sacrifice this, gain 3 life. That's not insignificant.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing, and I love that it's that was Sam. Sam was a gardener and a cook,
Yeah.
and this one totally is playing off of that. So let's see, it's green
Sam-
blue, so I think Dirk should
Sam-
read Radagast.
Yeah.
Radagast,
Go ahead, Dirk.
Wizard of Wilds. For 2 green blue, he's a 3/5 Avatar Wizard. That's legendary. And he is Ward of 1. And then beasts and birds you control have Ward 1.
Nice.
Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, choose one. Create a 3/3 green beast creature token, or create a 2/2 blue bird creature token with flying.
And yeah, there we go. I really like that they made, because that was Radagast's deal, it was birds. He hangs out with the birds and the beasts, and
Yeah.
sort of doesn't do anything else, even though
Yeah.
he was sent to do other stuff. He didn't. He got lost in the woods.
Yeah. Each of the wizards was given domain over a particular sphere. And Saruman was supposed to be like the keeper of ancient secrets and knowledge, and delve into like the most important stuff is how he kind of took his own charge, and did not go well for him. But Radagast, that's cool, and I like that he gives the beasts and the birds Ward 1. I like that.
Yeah. Random KO just asked, do you guys think they'll make cards for the 2 blue wizards? And no, I do not. Because they're not in Lord of the Rings. So they're not going to be in the set. Because again, the rights for the whole Tolkien thing are scattered to the 4 winds. That's why in the Hobbit movie, is the one thing I really appreciated about it, Gandalf said, and there were the 2 blue wizards. So I've quite forgotten their names because they weren't allowed to say their names because they didn't have the rights to them.
Yep. Just like we're not going to see, what was his name? Morgoth?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which is too bad because Morgoth makes Sauron look like a little bitch.
I mean, don't tell Sauron that. Or, sorry, Sauron.
There you
that.
go.
I got it.
But yeah, I love the flavor that they've managed to capture here for these first few cards.
Yeah.
Like it all just feels right. Like this isn't going to get me to buy more Magic or anything like that. Although I might buy some to get Mom to open them because Mom will die.
I might buy the FOMO. Well, not so much the FOMO as the YOLO one like collector's booster, just to be like, what if?
You did it, Charlie! Run home!
Well, I mean, if you never opened it, then, retains
That's
value
true,
because
yeah.
until it is found,
It could be.
technically, it could have
Is this
It is
Schrodinger's The
Schrodinger's
One
card,
Ring?
yeah.
Yeah.
Schrodinger's card. That's right.
It's both. It both exists and does not exist in the pack at the same time.
So,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, the commander decks, there are 4 of them. So we've got red, white, blue, Riders of Rohan, green, black, white, Food and Fellowship. Interesting that
Hobbits.
it's going to be black in there. Green, blue, what does that say? Elven Council. And then black, red, blue, the Hosts of Mordor.
They did say in the stream that there's a little bit of selfishness to some of the hobbits. And
Well,
if
yeah.
nothing else, their
Oh.
ability to like really go unseen.
Oh, I hope they give I hope there's a Fatty Bulger. And I hope he's a mimic. Oh, it can't be a mimic. There's no blue in this. Damn, that's too bad. Fatty Bulger is one of the unsung heroes of Lord of the Rings, and he didn't even make it into the movie, and that pisses me off. He's the so when Sam and Frodo left, they didn't leave from the Shire. Okay, they moved
Yeah.
to a different part of like outside the Shire. What is it? Over the Brandywine, Buckland? Is that where they moved to?
Yeah.
And like set up a house there and lived there for a while. And
Well,
then
the whole timeline in the books is way longer than in the movies.
oh yeah, the movie's super
Yeah.
compressed it because otherwise it would be long and boring. But
Yeah.
so it's like Frodo lived there for a while and then he just left in the middle of the night. And Fredegar Bolger stayed in his house and wore his clothes so that anyone spying would think he was still there.
Yeah.
And it turns out that almost cost Fredegar Bolger his life when was it the Nazgul that attacked?
The Nazgul came coming.
Yeah. And he just barely got away. But the fact that he stayed there and the Nazgul attacked there gave Frodo and Sam time to get the hell away and get further down the road. And that
Merry
is
and Pippin,
amazing.
And Merry and Pippin, because they all left together, they did not stumble across them in a cornfield or whatever. So Frodo was like, I'm leaving. And they're like, yeah, our bags are packed. And he's like, dang it.
Ooh, Jay Spencer said I want at least one card for the Sackville Bagginses. Right?
Oh, you're a horrible person.
Cards that you want to like give to your opponents. It could be like Sleeper Agent. You just want to give them to your opponent. Here, you take them. Jesus.
You're going to get up to use the bathroom and you're going to come back to your table and all of your the Sackville Bagginses will have like somehow piled themselves on top of your other cards. Like, these are ours now. We paid for them. I don't know how a card can do that, but it will.
I saw someone say either on Twitter or in the Discord or something that I think they said in the video that there's going to be a Bill the Pony, and that makes me happy.
Cool.
But will there be a Proudfoot?
Proud feet. So yeah. This like I said, this isn't gonna bring me back to buying Magic cards and whatnot, but I will like look at these and actually be excited to talk about them when we get more previews, in 20 minutes. I mean in like June.
Yeah.
Cuz in case you can't tell, I love The Lord of the Rings. Yay.
Like when they had the D&D set, but this is something that Chewie actually cares about. So
Pretty much, yeah. Like Mike said he wanted to do something like this for the 40K decks, but of the 4 of us, he's the only one that has any interest or knowledge. So we ended up not doing it. And I feel bad about that because I know Mike, I didn't know at the time, but I know now that Mike is all about some 40K stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had to give myself a little refresher because it had been a while since I last thought about it or followed it in earnest. But it was something that I followed a lot more closely, like when I was in high school.
because several of my friends played the games, and I would get in on games with them.
Nice.
The
Excuse me.
passing knowledge of 40K. So
The only thing I know about 40K is that if the orcs want something to go faster, they paint it red, and it does go faster, because that's how their
Yes.
belief system works. And I find that fascinating, but not fascinating enough to look into any further.
Yeah, I mean, the orcs in 40K are basically like a highly advanced sentient fungus with latent psychic abilities, and their tech works because they think it works.
See? That's fascinating.
Mhm.
But I I always liked the way Gandalf used magic in Lord of the Rings, because it was always like the word you always hear when talking about magic in Tolkien is subtle. Like, he's not one to point and shoot fireballs out of his fingers or anything like that.
Mhm.
So while he does have the deal 3 damage to each opponent, we'll let him have that just so he's a useful card. But
Yeah.
but tapping or untapping something and choosing and making copies of spells, that's totally a Gandalf thing, like 100%.
Yeah. Well, Tolkien has what many would consider to be a soft magic system versus a hard magic system. A hard magic system, as I saw a video one time put it, would be like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where there's fairly clear rules about what each school of magic can do. And yes, bending is magic, just go with it.
I mean, it
Whereas
is.
Tolkien is like, magic is whatever I need it to be in this instance. Gandalf can do this because he's a wizard. The, the legions of Sauron can do it because the plot needs them to. And that's, I'm not knocking it. It's just a different way of doing it. Some people prefer one or the other.
Yeah, like I'm currently reading through the Dresden Files books. I'm about 2/3 of the way through with Turncoat, for those of you who are wondering where I'm at. And it's like it's not super hard, but it's not soft. It's like in the middle, because it's got rules, but you can also make stuff up as long as you make it work within the rules. So, yeah. Yeah. But anyway, well, it is now after 10:30. I'm sure Dirk is already asleep. We should probably stop for his
I
sake.
need. Well, I need to too. I need to take the dogs out. So
Yeah, but you don't matter. We're talking about Dirk here.
nah. What about my dogs? They're important.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, we will. Oh, poor puppies.
Okay.
So, how about some final thoughts then, my dorks?
Brian, you go first.
I'm tired. I'm dog watching my parents' dog because they're out of town because of stuff going on with my family. Um, so I'm watching an extra dog. So, and actually, I do need to go take care of her. So, set looks neat. It's a pleasure to talk to everybody. And I'm gonna go ahead and go so I can take care of dogs. Thanks everybody for being here with us. And if you find that one ring, I'll do whatever you want with it because it's yours.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, bye.
Nibby.
Bye. My final thought. So I was late getting on tonight because I had a going to high school thing that I had volunteered to be the science teacher for, and whenever these are upcoming freshmen that are meeting teacher and trying and being like, hey, what do I do this? What's the difference between this and this? So I got the bright idea of, they're gonna ask me certain things. They're gonna ask, what's the difference between standard and honors? They're gonna ask, what do I need to graduate? And they're asked, what path, what classes should I take, in the science and everything. So I decided before they even came to me that I was going to write out the answer to these 3 questions. And all I had to do was, when they asked me, what's the difference, I flipped to the paper that said, here's what you do for standard, Here's what you do for honors. Here's what you're going to cover in Earth environmental science. So the people stood in my line, like when I gave them the spiel and everything, asked the question, I was done with it in about 20 seconds. The social studies teacher beside me had a line that was all the way to the 50, like halfway across the basketball court, and we're at the wall. I had no one in my line because it took me more or less 20 seconds to answer any question they had, because I had a visual guide that said, all right, you're going to take this. Next year, you'll take this. Now, depending on if you're going to go to community college or just graduate, this is what your option is. If you're intending to go to four-year university, this is what your option is. I'm like, oh.
Dirk's like, work smarter, not harder.
I mean, and I showed that to the principal, because when they were like, oh, thank you guys for coming, and I showed them, and she was like, oh my gosh, that is brilliant. And the history teacher looked at it and was like, I am blinded right now by how bright that idea was. That you have a visual, and there's no, oh, well, he said it this, but you said he said this, and it's, no, this is what it is. This is the difference. I wrote it out for you. It's right there. This is the difference.
Like, did you make printouts and just hand them out? So, like, hey, how about it?
No, it was just because everyone had tables. I had a desk. I just need a desk. Because they're gonna come to my desk. It's just me. I don't need a table, because it doesn't take up that much space to just flip to a paper that goes, this is your answer. Oh, you have to flip paper. This is your answer. It did not take much effort. So
Dirk is good at this game.
I have done this a couple of times, and I preempted what was going to happen. So, but that's my final thought of, yes, sometimes you just do need to work smarter and not harder with something like that to make your life easier. It also helps when you have experience doing stuff like this and realizing how you can make your life a lot easier. And with that, I am off to bed, gentlemen.
All right,
So
night,
have
Zerk.
a wonderful night.
All right. Good night.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was great.
So how about you there, Beardy Man?
I feel like there was something I was thinking about yesterday that I did want to share. But now, of course, I don't remember what it was.
Naturally.
Yeah. You had you had brought up something earlier about the Hot Pockets tie-in. The other day, my brother sent me a text message. He said, I just busted out laughing after seeing a commercial for KFC Double Down that was sponsored by Diablo 4. And he said, talk about the return of a prime evil.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. It's like, jeez. Yeah, there are some, marketing has always been ridiculous. Sometimes it's more obvious. What else? Oh, I saw on Facebook that Randy's new shop has become like an official place to go to, like, drop off cards to get graded, like to get sent off and graded.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So whoever's running it, I don't know if it's him or one of his people.
Or if he's hired someone that knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Clearly. He's not this into the details. He cares, he cares about ways to make money. But yeah, he has to have someone else doing this and setting this all up. 'Cause they're really going in big on getting that shop started.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, like, get together and run over there sometime and
Mm-hmm.
Poke Randy.
Yeah.
You do anything tomorrow night?
I don't know. Might just be staying here and sitting on the couch. There's been a lot going on at work. Yesterday was horrible.
Dang,
Yesterday
man.
was like the worst. One of the worst days in a while. Because it was a bunch of surprise, like, oh my god, we need to do this today stuff that like ruined my day for getting anything else done.
Buh.
Yeah.
And then you forgot to turn the stove on today. Oven, whichever.
Yeah. So it's actually because we doubled the recipe because we just wanted to make more and have some left over. But it took a long time for the excess water in the curry to boil off, like a long time.
Yeah.
Like we just decided to kind of give up and serve ourselves before it was actually done. So it was more like a little stew, and we left the rest of it on the stove. And Ashley's been watching it. I don't know if or when it actually finished.
Oh God, surely it finished by now.
Yeah, it had to have been. She hasn't been back out here in a while. She's been
Oh,
in the back. I think I hear her talking on the phone right now, probably talking to her sister.
okay.
Yeah, she was kind of she was kind of annoyed with herself about that, about not thinking ahead. But it's like, hey, I mean, it's an honest mistake.
Yeah, I mean, cooking is half science, half art.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And people can argue about the proportion there. So, oh, are you done, by the way?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. Would it be in poor taste to read my own Facebook post on the show?
No, I mean, the show is a venue for gosh, there's a word I wanted there. Anyway, no, go ahead.
So I wrote this out earlier today. It took me like an hour, and this is a thing that happened yesterday, and I want to share it with as many people as possible because it's really motivational. Mike, I know you don't Facebook very often, but you should look this up.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna read this to you. I started off with your typical, hey, this is a long post, but read it. So it's take a few minutes and read this. I assure you, it will be worth it. Purple heart emoji. In the video game I was playing yesterday, there's an elderly man who is very sick and doesn't have much time left. The objective laid before me, named Elderly Assistance, was to do 7 things for this poor old man to give him one final really good day before he passes. The tasks aren't very big or time-consuming or life-changing. For instance, he's upset because his nurse is late for his regular health check. The nurse is distracted feeding the ducks by the creek, so if you shoo them away, he'll snap out of it and go to his appointment. The old man is also tormented by an infestation of moles in his backyard, so you can give him some peace of mind by blocking up 6 mole holes on his property. The other tasks are just simple acts of kindness. Leave a blueberry muffin on a table for him to eat. Pour him a glass of his favorite tea. Sneak a pack of cigarettes into his room so he can get a quick fix, since no one will let him smoke anymore due to his health. Turn on the gramophone upstairs so he can have an unexpected bout of nostalgic reminiscence. The final task is to let him go visit his next-door neighbor, though I admittedly have no idea what triggers this. He just kind of went on his own while I was doing the other tasks. But she's done with some alterations to a robe for him, and they sat down together and had a nice little friendly chat. Why am I telling you about this? Because no matter how small, acts of kindness have great effect on people. So make an effort once in a while to be nice to people, because it could be all it takes to improve their mood greatly. I took less than an hour out of my day in real time, like it took me about 40 minutes. I took less than an hour out of my day to do a few nice things for an old man that made his entire day a good one. Well, what was left of his entire day. You see, the muffin I left him was very special. It was dosed with a lethal poison, and moments after enjoying the blueberry goodness, he collapsed in a heap and died. The game was Hitman, and the old man was Janus. Janus was a former KGB spy master and the first constant of Providence. Think like the Illuminati, a shadowy organization that secretly controls the world. He was evil incarnate, and it was my job to give him the death he so richly deserved. But just because I was there to kill him doesn't mean I had to be mean about it, right? And then later I edited and added, I guess there's a secondary lesson here about not judging a book by its cover too, but that's less funny. Because this is a thing that you can do in Hitman is do these 7 tasks to be nice to old Janus before you murder him horribly. And I think that works better in the text format now that I've read it out loud. It didn't have the same effect. But still, I was very proud of that. Like I said, it took me like an hour to get all that written and coherent, and I still use the word mean twice at the end, and that pisses me off. They're 2 different means. Like it doesn't mean I have to be mean, but that still pisses me off. But that's what happens when you write something and then go back and redo it, and then go back and redo it, and then go back and redo it. But anyway, it made me happy to help this old man out. Do some, what are they called? Random acts of kindness, and then murder him to death.
Yep.
You can also, when you block up the mole holes, he'll go and inspect a couple of them himself. You can plant explosives in there and blow him up. You can also poison his pack of cigarettes that you leave in his room. You can also poison his the mask for his oxygen tank. You can also loosen his oxygen tank so it has a leak and leave a pack of cigarettes there, and when he lights up, he'll explode. There's all kinds of stuff. I love it. A thing I left out was that when he went to visit the neighbor, I placed a rake on the sidewalk, and as he came back to his house, he stepped on the rake and it hit him in the head and knocked him out, because it got a notification. Like, I was on a completely different part of the map, and it gave me a notification that he'd been knocked out, and I was like, what? Oh, I did that. Yeah, that's the point. Chat says it's kind of hard to feel great about helping people out with the murdering and whatnot at the end. It'd be a lot more heartwarming if you didn't mention the murder or the game. Yeah, that's why. See, it's a reversal of expectations. That's the whole reason I wrote it. 'Cause it's funny. Oh, and I have a nice picture on the post of Janus looking like an innocent old man, even though he is evil incarnate. It just made me happy. Anyway, go play Hitman World of Assassination. It's probably, I think it is on sale. The Steam spring sale started today. Of course, when I'm broke. Because that's when they have sales. I can tell you when Steam is going to have a big sale, because it's at a point, it's always, without fail, at a point when I'm like, damn it, I'm short on money this month. Spring sale. Every time, Mike. Every time. It's like they know.
I believe it.
But anyway, yeah. The World of Assassination is on sale for 45% off for the whole shebang. Which is pretty good, because that gets you... I can't actually tell. Oh, it gets you all 3 games. Hitman 1, 2, and 3, they're all just in the first game. But anyway, also, if you want more Lord of the Rings stuff, there are a bunch. Like, Tolkien YouTube is totally a thing. But there are a couple of channels that I actually really like. There's In Deep Geek is the one that I really like. And then Nerd of the Rings. is another one that I like, but not as much as the first one. Your mileage may vary, of course. But if you want to find out more about the deeper Tolkien stuff, those two are an excellent place to start. Yay! I think they both have a Who is Tom Bombadil video. And I think that's how I found both of those, because one of them showed up in my recommended list. And I was like, that's a good question. Who is Tom Bombadil? But anyway. Oh, the Patreon thing. So, hey, you can, of course, as always, go to patreon.com/themanapool if you want to help support what we do here. And early access, odds and ends, sponsorship shout out. You probably know the deal by now. So let me thank our mythic lifeguards in this order. Andrew Odie, ALK Alters, Connor Kennedy, Mr. Dr. Lewis, Jason Doan, Pinball Witch, Casey, Cody Buckowing, Andrew Hunt, Jason Kaus, Team You Hellas Are You, Beardy Man, hang on, Jake Jansons, John Parker, Scuzzo, Kim Ho, and Al. Yay. And hey, I stream over on Twitch, by the way. If you go to themanapool.com, that's a link tree now. You can find all the places to find me for things. There's a lot. I'm all over the internet, as you know. But okay then. So with that, this has been episode 672 of The Manapool, all about Magic the Gathering, Universes Beyond, The Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth. Middle-Earth, I guess. Hyphen? Dash? I don't know the difference. M-dash? N-dash? DoorDash? No. So, thank you all so very much for joining us, and don't put on the ring. For God's sake, don't put on the ring.